other people's morning routines and evening routines and all of the in-depth, the details that go into those routines. But today I want to kind of zoom out and take a broader spectrum look at some things. The reality is when you have a set routine, occasionally they don't really go your way. And depending on what kind of person you are, routines might not actually be the appropriate thing to help you get what you need out of your time. Some people love routines and love the rigidity of routines and doing specific things in specific orders, and other people thrive more along the lines of having this set period of time to do whatever feels right for them in that given moment. And my routines, both my morning and my evening routines, kind of fall in between those two things. I have a general idea of what I want my morning and evening routines to be, but I also like having the freedom of not feeling required to do a certain set of things every single day. That being said, I have 5 things that I do every single morning and every single night. And today we're talking about the 5 things that I do every night before bed. Before we dive into the 5 things I do every night, I want to say hello to you. Thank you so much for clicking on this video today. My name is Brianna. I am the diva behind Diva and the Divine and your healthy homemaker, sharing my experience through life using health, habits, happiness, and of course homemaking to go after the life that I want and become my best self. And nighttime routines actually kind of stick right into there, right? It involves habits and things that you do every night. But like I said in the intro, I don't want to focus on this is exactly what my nighttime routine looks like, and that can be a different video for a different day. But I want to kind of just take the basic things. I have things that like, yeah, a routine that's like nice and in-depth and all of those things are great and wonderful, and there's a time and a place for them. But the reality of my life is I don't necessarily stick to specific routines every single day. I want to be that person, but the more I am learning and reflecting on myself, the more I'm realizing that I'm not necessarily that person. But instead of set specific routines, I have lists of things that I like to do for any given routine. I have things that I like to do in the morning. I have things that I like to do in the evening. And so today I want to tell you the 5 non-negotiables, the things that I do each and every night before I go to bed. Number 1 is I set up the coffee maker. This has become a non-negotiable, and it has become such an important part of what I do every single night because it's such an important part of the morning. I love my morning coffee, and I also love not having to do things first thing in the morning. So one of the biggest pains in my neck is when I have to get up in the morning and I have to shuffle over to the coffee pot and actually do the work of digging out the coffee filters, refilling the water, all of those things in order to get my morning cup of coffee. Once we got a coffee maker that had a program button on it, my mornings changed. I make that coffee every night before bed as part of my evening routine, and then the result is I don't have to make coffee in the morning. And it is a wonderful, glorious way to start my day. Some of you might know I also have a Nespresso machine, and the Nespresso machine, while it doesn't have a little turn on at this time button, the turnaround time for the Nespresso machine is no time at all. So I have no problem shuffling over to my Nespresso machine in the morning and opening it. By the time I open it, go get my creamer, put a pot in, everything heats up and it's good to go. But I use the Nespresso maker and the coffee pot the same day. My first cup of coffee comes from my Nespresso machine. My second cup of coffee and all of my husband's coffee comes from the coffee pot. Not having to do that work in the morning is so major. It's so amazing. It feels so good. An added bonus, my husband told me recently that he loves, it's such a simple thing that every morning he wakes up and the coffee is already made, and it just shows him, it's a small thing that I do that shows him how much I love him. He goes, every morning I just smile because the coffee's already done because you decided to do it for me. So it's partially selfish and partially for him, but it is entirely because I don't want to make coffee in the morning. It is the best choice ever. If you have a programmable coffee machine, set it up the night before. You won't regret it. The second thing I do every single night is at least wash my face. I am that person that will be like, the later it gets, the more I don't want to wash my face. Because on days, especially like today, when I have a full face of makeup on, it is a tedious act to go through cleansing and removing the makeup, and then you cleanse and then you tone. And I have like a 5 or 6 step skincare program, right? There are nights that I exfoliate, there are nights that I don't. I have different serums, different moisturizers, blah, 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 blah. The reality is, at the very least, I do the bare minimum and I remove my makeup, cleanse, and put moisturizer on every single night. Because the reality is, my skin is one of my my insecurities, because I have adult acne that when I don't do my skincare routine, flares up. So for me, the motivation is there to do at least get things clean and get things moisturized and treated appropriately, because it will help prevent me from getting more breakouts, which is crucially important to me. So my skincare routine, whether it's the 3-step version or the 7-step version, happens every night. Thing number 3 I do every single night is, and it could only take 30 seconds, but I stretch out my legs. Even if my only act is to lean on my bed with my elbows and kind of stick my butt out a la the downward dog, kind of, sort of, just to get a stretch running through the back of my legs. I stretch every single night, because if I don't, I find that I'm more likely to get leg cramps and have pain in my feet, because weirdly enough, everything is connected, and if I don't stretch out my legs, my feet start to hurt. So I make sure that I do a little bit of work every night, even if it's that 30 seconds just leaning on my bed in my own version of downward dog. There are nights that I do something a little bit more elaborate. I use the TheraBand elastic stretcher. I put my legs up against the wall, but at bare minimum, I do 30 seconds of my version of the downward dog, just to get a stretch running through the entirety of the back of my legs. The 4th thing I do every single night is take my evening medications. And these are mostly not actually prescribed medications. I do have 2 prescribed medications that I take every night. One is trazodone, which I was actually given for sleep anxiety, and it has been awesome. And montelukast, which is an allergy-related pill that I just take at night because that's what's easy to remember. But I also take magnesium supplements every single night to help with body cramps and all of those things. Magnesium is a magical supplement, and I notice when it is not there. When I run out of magnesium, which I haven't let happen in a very long time, but when I run out, I notice that my sleep quality isn't as good. I'm in a little bit more pain, all of those things. So taking a magnesium supplement, I specifically take Now Foods magnesium glycinate, specifically because there are different forms of magnesium that you can take, and different forms help better with different ailments. And magnesium glycinate is one of the ones that is best for sleep. So I take 2 magnesium glycinate. I'll link the ones I use down below every single night. And then of course, my CBD capsules are a part of my evening routine as well. And they are a non-negotiable. I either take the Soul CBD Sleepy Gummies, which have a different formulation than the Soul CBD Dream capsules. The Dream capsules are my ride or die, my absolute favorites, and ever since I have been an ambassador for the Soul CBD product line, I have been taking the Dream capsules and I love them. I recently went for a period of about 2.5 weeks without them, and I noticed a difference. I sleep so much better with the Dream capsules in my system. So it is a non-negotiable. They travel with me when I'm doing overnights. I have one every single night, and I actually make it a point to take it roughly an hour before I go to bed, so everything has a chance to start working. It has a little bit of melatonin in it as well. It is fantastic. It is non-negotiable, and that is why it is number 4 on my list of 5 things I do every single night before bed. If you want to try the Soul CBD supplements, any of the supplements, but specifically the Dream capsules, you can use the code DIVA to get 15% off of your purchase. I do get a little bit of commission if you decide to use my code, so thank you in advance for your support. And thing number 5 that is an absolute non-negotiable that I do every single night is kiss my husband goodnight before I put my APAP mask on. It seems like such a silly thing, like duh, of course you kiss your husband goodnight, but like I really truly have made it part of my routine, because there are most nights I make it into bed before he does. He's still stretching, changing the dog's pad, doing his nighttime routine stuff, right? And I just want to climb into bed, put my machine on. For those of you who don't know, I have an APAP machine, which is like a CPAP, but it's an automatic instead of continuous airflow for sleep apnea treatment. So I have a nose mask that I wear every single night. It's super sexy. And so when I climb into bed, the last thing I do is I put my mask on and turn the machine on and lay down. So it's up and running and I'm poking at my phone and whatever. And so I've made it a point now, like you can't get a good night kiss in with the mask on, right? So literally part of my nighttime routine is when I'm all done with everything else and when he's in a lull of between like flossing his teeth and wandering off to go do something else, I will go, I require a good night kiss or something to that effect. And I flat out tell him, I'm like, all right, it's time to give me my good night kiss so I can go to bed. And this happens every single night with the declaration of some kind too. I declare it every single night that like now is the time like for the good night kiss. And that is the final thing I do before I go to bed. I declare my need for the good night kiss. I get my good night kiss. I put my APAP mask on and I get into bed and poke at my phone until I'm ready to fall asleep. So there you go. Those are my 5 things that I do every single night. I make the coffee. I do some sort of skincare routine. I stretch the back of my legs. I take my CBD and other nighttime medications and I kiss my husband good night. Now I want to hear from you. What are some of your every single night non-negotiables? What are things that you do regardless of if you have an official nighttime routine or not? What is something that you do every single night? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up as it really does help me out. And if you want to join the Diva and the Divine community, come on over. We would love to have you. Just click that little red subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the bell so you get notified every time I upload something new. Until next time, my friends, thank you for watching. Take care and I'll see you soon.